Hello everyone again. This is Kevin James, and this is the Video Games and More blog. On today's blog, we're gonna actually take a look at some of the best of the worst. The best of the worst. What is that? And I figured, you know what? I'd rather extend this to have at least two parts. So this is the first part of the two-part mini-series of the best video games, or should I say, the best of the worst video games that I've seen thus far. So first off, could something be so bad that it actually be good? That's a really good question to look at. And yes, while there are times that we have bad things that actually could bring us entertainment and joy because simply we laugh at them, we love to laugh and make jokes of them, could that happen with video games? I found something very clear about video games. More than likely not. When you go to play a video game, you go to find a level of enjoyment. And sometimes we don't find a level of enjoyment right away. Other times, if a game's really bad to begin with, you're not going to find a level of enjoyment. You're going to just say, this game sucks. So, I've decided that I wanted to do this series on I'm going to pick 7 video games. And this first part, we're going to focus on 3 of them. So let's explore the best of the worst. Number 7. Shaq Fu. Yes, I said it, Shaq Fu. Okay, so most of the time we get a lot of video games, you know, with these long lists of celebrity tie-ins. But one game that I heard of, and I think that I definitely have to play before, you know, I lose out on this opportunity, is this game called Shaq Fu. And yes, my fans, exactly what you hear. In the name itself, Shaq Fu, it is what it is. It is a game with Shaquille O'Neal doing nothing but Kung Fu. Yes, it is as bad as it sounds. And I know Shaq, great basketball player, but when it comes to doing movies or anything that relates to him being in the art, he sucks. We're talking about some of the things that we've seen in the past, like Steel. What was that other film he was in? Kazam. I can't even think of anything else. He actually had a rap album too, which was bad as well. But according to one of our sources that actually came from PC World, Shaq Fu looked like Mortal Kombat, but you had to hit your opponent in exactly the right spot in order to do any damage. That and Shaq fighting evil in his basketball uniform was just too much. Simply, when you have quotes like that, there's nothing else you could say really about it. Number 6. The Smurf Rescue. Yes, I said it, the Smurf Rescue. And trust me, I love the Smurfs. Growing up, they were like one of the best things on television. That and something called The Littles, but I don't remember where that show came from. But anyway, moving on. Yes, they were smart, talented, and blue. Amazing, yes. Of course, they followed certain stereotypes, such as the damsel in distress, with Smurfette there, one female, which I thought was kind of strange. One female amongst all those guys, kind of odd. But I'm not judging. Or am I? Don't know. But sometimes just because something is just enjoyable to others doesn't mean we make a game out of it. I mean, seriously, leave the Smurfs alone! Leave them alone!
Leave me alone! Please!
But they didn't, and we had this massacre. According to PC World, my one resource I used for this project, your Smurfs are on a quest to rescue the lovely Smurfette. The journey, however, requires the patience of a saint, as being just a little off would send your Smurf off to death. This gameplay was so sensitive that if you moved the wrong way, you would instantly die. I mean, this game was reflective of another game that came out of Atari, and I call this game It That Should Never Be Made Nor Played. For most of you who may sing my other blog, I'm talking about E.T. And finally, Pac-Man, the home version, is down our list for number 5. Now, before I get into a whole bunch of hate mail from my only fan, let me explain. Apparently, Pac-Man was highly successful in arcades, so Atari wanted to bring the game to the home. So Pac-Man home version was born. The simple problem with this game, to be quite honest, was that it was not like the original. In fact, the graphics were horrible, the ghosts came in and out of existence, and the famous Waka 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 was replaced by Boing Boing Boing. This was simply a useless game. But as you look at these 3 games, Can we determine them to be bad by themselves, or are we just being biased to the oldest systems they were played on? I mean, let's face it, Atari has some of the worst games of all time. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just gonna say right now, Atari has some of the worst games of all time, but can you blame them? They were working on 1980 graphics. Come on, can we give them a break? But wait, if we give them a break, does that mean that every single game they made was really bad? Or maybe we should look at maybe the gameplay itself. What can we focus on? Were the graphics just horrible, or were these really horrible games? Now, I'll admit, I haven't played them myself, so I can't necessarily be a complete expert of that. But I would challenge those who can actually find these games, which I'm sure they are out there somewhere, whether they're on emulators, and if you need to find out more information about emulators, check out my first blog. Let's find them, let's play them, and let's make a determination for ourselves. Were they really that bad to the point where could we blame the system, or could we blame the fact that they were just poorly made in general? I'll see you guys in part 2, which is happening next week. This is Kevin James, Leave Me Alone, signing off.